Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. Leaders, the information on today's program is gathered from many different places and many different people. So if you hear yourself in one of our conversations today, please remember it is not all about you. All right, today I'm going to start off with some of my favorite Wranglerisms. And these are things I've collected from different parts and places in my life. And so as we go through them, just kind of smile and enjoy it and maybe learn something. You just never know. Let's look at them. Now, I've got 11 of them. So we're going to start out with number 11 and work backwards because I just wanted to do something different today. So number 11. Well, a college education ensures wealth. Growing up, that is all I ever heard. And then I grew up and started to an apprentice program and got paid every other week. And in 5 years, made more money than most of my college graduate friends. Then I didn't have to pay anything back. So you decide who's the smartest one there. But anyhow, that's the Wranglerism thought process. Is college education really what it's supposed to be? And does it really ensure wealth? And the answer is no. So still got to pay for it one way or the other. All right, let's look at number 10. Number 10. You have to be smart to go to college. Well, I heard that one too when I was growing up. And the truth is, you don't have to be all that smart, but you do have to be persistent. Now, for those who graduate and got those 4-year college educations, some better like my daughter, I give them all credit in the world because you know what? They hung in there and got it done. They finished their dream, and I think that's a wonderful thing. But do you have to be smart? I don't think so. Number 9, if you work with your hands, you are slow. Boy, did I hear that one. And you know what? That's just been permeated through our lifestyle in our country today. But yep, I was told that one too. And the truth is that some of the smartest people I know work with their hands. You know, like my mechanic friend, plumber, electrician, carpenter, and yes, even my surgeon. My mechanic now has a handheld computer to work on my vehicle. And I think to myself all the time, just how crazy is that? He's working on the computer more than he is on my car. So, you know what? People who work their hands, they got to be just as smart and quick and fast as anyone else. Number 8. Now, don't take offense, but this is what we heard. If you're from the north, you are smart. Well, most of the folks here where I live are from the north, and they all complain about how bad it was up there. You know, the quandary is they never leave once they come down. They only bring what they did not like from up north, and then they do their best to make us try to like it. Grandpa always said is they always brought whatever they didn't like with them and tried to take and get us to enjoy it. So I'm not so sure that's a true statement. Number 7. If you're from the South, you must be slow. Well, we do talk somewhat slower. Well, some of us anyhow. And the reason is we do that is we do our best to use short words so that others can just flat understand. That, and we were raised with it, is better to stay quiet and let others think you are slow than to open your mouth and prove them right. You know what? That's just a fun thing, isn't it? All right, let's look at number 6. Well, I'm having a good time today. The kind of car says who you are. Now, I especially like this one because growing up in a family where my dad only would allow a Chevrolet in the driveway, well, after I got married and bought a Ford and was quickly disowned. I do think if you have to have a fancy car that you cannot afford to have repaired when something goes wrong, you're not as smart as you think you are. It's just plain old transportation. Here's the thing. Purchase something for what it does, not for what others will think of you. There's a thought. Number 5. I like this one too. I hope you're having a good time today. If your clothes come from a designer, they must be better. You know, I knew a lot of people had those fancy little things on their pockets and on their heinies, but you know, well, here's the truth though. The folks I know go to the thrift stores and purchase those expensive items you all others just give away at a fraction of the cost. Other folks I know shop the sales, and others design and sew their own dad-burn clothes. Having to have an embroidered patch with someone else's advertisement on it, well, that's just plain silly. This one, yep. Only the rich know how to handle money. Well, this one just might be true. The reason is that those who don't have money refuse to learn, and those who with money refuse to share. It's the knowledge. If you're not learning, and you didn't learn like most of us growing up, you know, there were things you just never talked about, and one of them was money. And then Miss Robin and I, well, we were just smart enough to listen to somebody who was a whole lot smarter than we were, and we liked to learn about money. And we learned it wasn't a bad thing. It was just sometimes people did bad things with it. Number 3. This is a hot button for me. The rich are bad. Boy, did my mom drive that one home when I was a kid. There's some good and some, well, not so good, but all people are not so bad. You see, there's good and bad with everybody, and the rich are just like anybody else. There's good and bad in both. It's just knowing how to take and choose who you want to be around. That I think is smart. Number 2. We're really getting to the crux of the matter now. The smile on my face might just go away. I don't know. We'll see. Your children will live by the same values and moral code. It seems that they will until they head to those halls of the higher learning. And then my greatest fear has always been they'll come back stupid. They graduate and come back. You just never know what's going to come. There you go. Can't guarantee that one. And number 1, my number 1 Wranglerism for the day. People will make the same or better choices than their parental units. This one is a time will tell situation. The older the children get, the older the children get you, the parental unit will get smarter and smarter overnight. And boy, that was the truth. Leaders, I hope you've enjoyed this. Just a little bit of just fun, because I'll tell you what, these are things that we put down, and they're observations that we've made that, you know, hey, a college education sure does not guarantee wealth, that you know, you have to be really smart to go to college. And if you work with your hands, you're going to be slow. And if you were from the north, you must be smart. And if you're from the south, you must be slow. And the kind of car says who you are. That's what I like. And of course, if your clothes come from a designer, well, they must be better. Only the rich know how to handle money. The rich are bad. Your children will live by the same values and moral codes as you do. And people will make the same or better choices than their parental units. Boy, that's some fun stuff there. We're going to jump into our next topic because I want to keep it light and have fun with it today. And I want to share these things with you so that you could just enjoy and have a good day. Now, someone asked me one time that they said, Dick, you seem to live by a bunch of rules. What are those rules, and did you ever write them down? And you know what? I did. Of course, I was encouraged to do this by that television program, you know, where one gentleman has all of his rules and they're on little slips of paper. Well, mine are listed, and it's pretty easy to go by. First one is, ladies sit first. Now, if that's not something you were raised with, I feel sorry for you. You see, if there's an empty chair and there's a lady there, you need to take and get up and let her sit. That's just a kind thing to do. Number two, rule number two, uncover undercover. Now, that's a pretty simple thing. It means take your dad burn hat off when you come inside. You know, you folks who wear hats to the dinner table, what is wrong with you? There's just some simple courtesy things. You can take them off. Uncover, uncover. It's just really undercover, uncover. It's just so darn simple. You can do it. While we're on that, I'll touch back into it later. Number three, speak up concisely and then shut up. Get it done and get it out and get it over. You know, I think that the biggest thing is we sometimes listen to people palaver way too much. Number four, rule number four, do not believe everything you are told. Grandpa said, question and check everything for your own dad burn self. You just never know. You might learn something. And you might not get taken advantage of. So don't believe everything you're told. Check it out for yourself. Use your own mind. You can do it. All right. This is where I was going to follow up on that number two. It's by rule number 5. Baseball caps face bill forward. You know, they've got a bill on them for a reason. It's to take and shade your eyes. Now, if you wear that stupid thing on backwards, it's just shading your neck. Well, you know what? You just not going to get away from being a redneck, so just enjoy it. But the thing is, hey, wear it's like it's designed. And while we're on baseball caps, who in the world was the one who developed that flat thing that looks dumb, you know, on your head? Well, baseball caps, bill forward, get over it. Rule number 6, if you want to keep a secret, keep it to yourself. You know what? That's just a fact. Because once you tell it, it's no longer a secret anymore, is it? All right, keep thinking about it. Rule number 7, never take anything for granted. Here again, that's the piece that you need to do your own thinking. You can either think for yourself and do your own discernment process, or you can be one of the herd. And you know what I found is when you're one of the herd, you're always following somebody else's tiny. Think about it. All right, number 8, rule number 8, never go anywhere without a pocket knife. Now, this is the most sensible thing that I've ever put in my rules. But it's pretty hard nowadays if you're flying on a plane because, you know, they make you get rid of that pocket knife or go in the courthouse or any of the other places where you might, you know, cut something and hurt yourself. But a pocket knife is a tool. It's not anything else other than that. How many times have you been somewhere and need to open a package? Maybe open a letter. Maybe clean your fingernails. Who knows? But you know what? Never go anywhere without your pocket knife. That's just rule number 8. Rule number 9. This is my wife's favorite one, by the way. Know the rules, bend them if you must, but do not break them. And sometimes they're bent pretty darn hard, but I'll tell you what, knowing the rules is the thing. Everybody needs to know all of the rules all the time. And when they're not told or they're kept back, I just assume, because that's how I am, that people are lying to me. And I just can't abide by that at all. So know the rules, bend them if you must, but do not break them. Rule number 10. Never interrupt when someone else is speaking. Now, this just drives me crazy when we're in a meeting or something. One person's talking, another person's talking over top, another starts another conversation. There's 2 people having a conversation out at the end of the table and back and forth. And it just gets so muddied that no one knows what the heck's going on. All right, so just rule number 10, never interrupt when someone else is speaking. Let them get done, for goodness sake. Rule number 11. Rule number 11 is very, very near and dear to me. Never mess with someone else's coffee. You know what? That is just plain grounds for divorce right there. Somebody messes with your coffee. Now me, I just like pouring a cup and leave it alone. There, of course, there's those others put all that fancy stuff in and out, and they like that fancy goo-goo stuff. But just pour it in a cup. Leave it alone. Don't bother somebody else. Got it? All right. Rule number 12. If you feel you're being played, you probably are. You know, my grandpa told me one time, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Well, what I've learned is if it seems too good to be true, it is. And you need to get away from it pretty darn quick. So if you're feeling like you're being played by somebody, you probably are. Trust your gut, is what I'm telling you. Rule number 13. A coincidence only happens once. You know, when it happens the second time, it's somebody planned it. I want you to think about that just a little bit before you get too far into it. Rule number 13. A coincidence only happens once. All right, rule number 14 is fun, though. Rule number 14 says there's no such thing as a small world. What that means is, I guarantee you that if you take and say something to someone that you didn't want to get out, it'll be around the world before you even know it. You know, the other thing is we're all connected. And we need to think about that. How we treat one another, how we talk to one another, and do those kind of things. We need to know that the world is a pretty small place nowadays. I can talk to people and clients across the country. I can even travel around the world in 24 hours. I mean, think about how small the world really is. You might want to take and just put some time to it. Rule number 15. Another one of my favorites. Ask for help when needed. You know, we all need help from time to time. Fact is we don't do anything by ourselves. I surely didn't get up this morning and go out there and pick cotton and make it into a shirt, you know, so I could wear it today. I surely didn't take and do the embroidery work on it because, well, Miss Robin knows how to do that and I don't. And I for surely didn't make these glasses I got on so I could see y'all. So, you know, ask for help when needed, which is going to be more than probably what you like. All right. Rule number 16. Watch the people who are watching you. What are you doing that makes them want to watch you? And what are they doing that you're watching them? One of the things I tell people is you need to be conscious of your surroundings at all times, especially in today's world. If you're in a group, you need to be kind of looking at what other people are doing and how they're doing it and how they're acting. You just never know if you're going to get caught up into something that you really don't want to be in. So make sure that you're watching, you're looking, you're paying attention to what's going on in your surroundings at all times. Another one of my wife's favorites, rule number 17. Lead, follow, get out of the way. Choose one. I always like this one because it always gives you a choice of what you want to do. But you know what? Here's the thing that I found over and over is there are leaders, there are followers, and then there's muddlers. And muddlers are kind of in the middle, and they don't lead, they don't follow, they just kind of muddle through. And they're the ones who you need to encourage to make a choice. Oh man, let's see here. Number 18, rule number 18. If you feel someone is out to hang you, they probably are. These are the folks that tell those little stories behind your back and do those nitpicking and backbiting and all those kind of things. That they're trying to undermine something that's happening in your life. Be aware of who and what they're doing. And you need to make a choice. Are these people that I really want in my life? Probably the answer is going to be no. So, say adios and leave them behind. All right. Another one of Miss Robin's favorites. Number 19. If you make a mess, clean it up yourself. Here's one of those things she taught the kids very early. And it amazes me that we go places and do things. We watch other people's youngins. And, boy, I'll tell you what, there's some messy youngins out there. They just never learned the thing of put it back when you get it out. You know, you're all done with it, put it away. It just seems to make sense. But, you know, I'm just kind of enjoying this whole opportunity today to be with you. How much fun is this? I'll tell you. So that was number 19, wasn't it? Well, I can see we need to talk about number 20. If you use something, put it back where it belongs. Kind of goes with the number 19. If you make a mess, clean it up. But you know, if you use something, put it back. It sounds pretty easy. Well, in fact, sometimes I just flat forget. But I'm trying to do my best to make that happen. So, you know, number 20, we all need to do better at, I think. Rule number 21. Leaders, especially you guys out there, I'm going to tell you what, if it's dirty, clean it. Sounds pretty easy. I remember walking into an office one time, and there was probably 20 dirty coffee cups in the sink. And one poor lady was sitting there scrubbing each one of them. I said, boy, you must drink a lot of coffee. She said, I don't drink coffee at all. I drink tea, but all these are in the sink, and the men are leaving me to do it. Men, get going, stand up, and get something done. If it's dirty, clean it. Number 22 on the rule list, always give people space when they get off an elevator or exit a building. There's just nothing more rude that when the elevator opens, someone tries to barge in and doesn't give you time to get out. Or you're leaving a building, you know, and someone's coming up and they're trying to get through the door as you start to leave. It seems to me it should be a whole lot more fun as if they just held the door open for you, let you go, and as they go in, how nice would that be? Common courtesy, I believe they call it. That's a good rule to take and be thinking about. Rule number 23. Do what you must do to provide for your family. So many people I run into today say, well, I hate my job, I hate my boss, I hate. You know, sometimes you have to do what you have to do in order to take care of your family. I'm not saying I loved every job I ever had, but I was trying to make the best of it. The thing I'm going to share with you is if you really have a job you really hate, make some kind of fun day out of it. Find some way to make it fun until you can be doing the job you really want to be doing. So the question always boils down to is, what are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? That's what's doing right here. Do what you must do to take care of your family legally, okay? All right. Rule number 24. This is a good one. Rule number 24 says check and recheck until you are satisfied. Now, one of the things about getting information and finding information in today's world, it's so very hard to know whether I'm getting good information or false information. So that means it's up to me to do the research and really find out for myself and run down 3 or 4 different opportunities to really dig in deep and find out for myself so I can check and recheck until I'm satisfied with the answer. Make sense? Oh, I hope so. Rule number 25. Never second guess your gut in relationship or career. I'm going to encourage you to really pay attention to your gut. When things aren't going right, and you know what that means, and you know how you're feeling kind of queasy when things aren't really right, both in a relationship or your career, you need to do something about it. And second guessing yourself all the time, it will just make it, well, it prolongs the agony and makes it worse. So trust your gut on making those kind of decisions. Know that there's always a choice to be made, and know that it's always going to be your choice and no one else's. Make sense? Hope so. Number 26, one of my favorites. Never make excuses. You know, when you screw up, own it. I'm serious. If you screw up, admit to it. Learn from it. Apologize, make it right, and move on. I'm not saying that you're going to forget it forever. I want you to really ask yourself some questions. What did I learn from that, and what will I do different? The deal is, if you make a mistake, own it. Don't make excuses, because excuses are just that, excuses. They are time wasters and time takers. So, admit the error, find a way to make restitution, learn from it, move on. Got it? What did I learn from it, and what will I change to do different? Number 27, never underestimate your opponent. There have been many times when I've read the book by the cover instead of getting to know the person, and I have very much underestimated my opponent, and it's cost me dearly. So now I can take all the time I need to really get to know that other person and where they're from and what they're doing and how they did it, so I don't underestimate what the deal is. This one you're going to find fun. Okay. Rule number 28. Always have a spare. You know, you have a car, I hope you have a spare tire in it. And for me around here, I always have a spare knife because I collect them and I like them. But you think about it, if you're going to be out and about, have a spare pen or pencil so you can take notes, or someone needs one, you have one. You just never know when something's going to break. Always have a spare. It just seems to make sense. I know when we go on a long trip, I take a spare pair of glasses. And believe me, in the past, I have had to use them when something's happened. I've either dropped them in the water, which has happened more than once, or, I do something silly and break them. So always have a spare. It's just always the best policy. Rule number 29. Good is never great. I often hear people say, well, that's good enough. Oh, that's good enough. That's good enough. What is good enough? Good enough is just barely done. Good enough is just barely to your excellence. Good enough is, well, it's just barely. It's just good enough. But it's not great. It's not excellent. It's not the best you can do. Good enough is never the best you can do. And if I learned anything, is to do your best. Not someone else's, not the person next to you, but your best. So good is never great. All right. Rule number 30. I see we're clicking down here to the end. Rule number 30. Dress equal to or better than. If you're going somewhere, you're going to meet someone, make sure that you're dressing equal to what they're wearing or better than. Do something we call match the hatch. So that's know your audience, know who you're going, know where you're going to be. Rule number 31. Think before speaking. Now this is a hard one for most of us. Most of us are listening just long enough to give an answer, instead of listening long enough to think and do some discernment before we open our mouth. So think before speaking. Rule number 32. You got nothing else? Write this one down. Remove yourself from those who do not support you. If you're involved with a bunch of folks who are negative and don't support any of your dreams or anything that you're attaining to do, find some new people to hang around, because I'll tell you what, those people are going to drown you. Rule number 33, when interviewing someone, use written questions, write down the answers, both parties sign and date them, and use the same list for everyone that you interview. Well, boy, I had a good day today. This has been a lot of fun. But I see we're coming to our end of our time like normal. So here's what I want to say. On behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, I want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. And our hope is that you've received a nugget of wisdom and guidance and maybe even had a little fun. Now, if you have any questions or comments on today's program, don't hesitate. Give me a call, 727-422-1833. Send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. Go to the website, spend some time, click on it, send me a note, maybe even buy a book at www.ewfw.org. And you know that you want to bring us in to do a leadership opportunity at your location for your group. Just give us a call, get on our email list. We book up very quickly during the year. And you know what? We can hardly wait to come and put on a program just for you. Well, until next time, this is DW the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.